which starts off today with the women's team bronze medal match. And this has two very good teams facing off. Second-seeded Germany taking on top-seeded Korea. Good crowd on hand here along the River Boulevard as we get set for our first match of the day. And very quickly, let's get into the scoring system for Recurve.
Sure. For the team round, it's quite simple. It's just accumulation over 24 arrows. The archers each will shoot, in the finals format, they'll be shooting one arrow and then step off the line. The next archer will shoot one arrow, step off the line. The third archer will shoot one arrow. They've got 2 minutes for 6 arrows, so their clocks will start with 2 minutes on them, and they'll collect after every 6. They'll do that 4 times for a total of 24 arrows. Total score at the end of those 24 arrows is who wins, unless we have a tie at that point, in which case there's a shoot-off. And I'm kind of hoping for a shoot-off because they're very exciting in the team round.
Everybody loves those shoot-offs. There's no question about that. Let's take a look at the teams. We just saw the team from Germany. We'll get back to them in a moment. But this is the team from Korea. Chang Hye Jin, Hyun, Jung, and Kibo Bae. Kibo Bae, of course, the leader of this team right there on the right. They defeated Iran and Russia before being shocked by Chinese Taipei to move them into the bronze medal match, where they will face the team comprised of Elena Richter, Lisa Unruh, and Karina Winter. The Germans getting by Australia and then India before getting bumped by Ukraine. So it'll be a great matchup. Korea on target number 1, Germany on target number 2, and we'll find out right away just how much of a factor this wind is.
Absolutely. It looks like the Germans will be starting off, so that should be really good. That's a great opportunity for the Koreans to see a little bit of what the wind's doing. This is the first match of the day, so nobody knows what the difference is between the two fields. The Germans have just stepped up to the line, I believe, or just about to. Here is a difference between the team round and the individual. The 2 whistles brings you to the 1 meter line for the team round. Only when you get the 1 buzzer are you allowed to start shooting. So Karina Winter is starting off.
Karina ranked as high as 21st in the world back in 2010. And she starts off with a 5.
Way out to the right.
So her teammates will make note of that. As Lisa Unruh steps up to shoot her first shot.
Good correction. Excellent correction. That's a nice X right there.
And now Elena Richter, who's been competing since 2008, just 23 years old.
And another good correction. So it looks like the wind's pushing arrows a little bit out to the right. And it's a steady, so the mark on the screen says it's a steady head first headwind. A headwind is an interesting thing to try to work with because what it tends to do is just open up your groups more than anything else. So any error you make drifts off to one side even more than it would if it was just a regular shot.
Very close. And they'll count that as a 10. Kibo Bae now, who in 2012 competed in only 2 stages on the World Cup circuit, 5 events, and brought home gold medals in 3 of the 5. So she'll start off with a 7. And right now Korea with a 2-point lead. Midway through the opening set.
Yeah, and this should be an excellent match. The Koreans are surprisingly in the bronze medal match. That's a little unexpected. Wow, that arrow's a long way out. That's a 1. That's not going to help them. So the Germans are not doing themselves any favors here, shooting these lower scores. The Koreans will probably capitalize on that and just run.
You can see the shot now by Karina Winter, way off to the right.
It may have scored a 2. I didn't take a good look at it.
The judges will, obviously, once this set is over. And a much better shot right there. So they finish off with a 9, but a 1 and a 5.
Yeah, 6 points out of 2 arrows. That's rough.
Only 41 points in that set for Germany. And Korea.
They'll almost certainly capitalize on that one. Well, they already did. There's an 8-point difference right there.
Sure. So essentially, they can win this first set on this shot right now.
In fact, it's not set play. We're doing cumulative score.
Cumulative, excuse me.
So that's actually, the set play would have actually been much better for the Germans at this point, because they could just throw away that one and not worry about it. Now they've dug themselves a big score hole that they're going to have to try to come back from, and the Koreans are so strong that it's going to be very, very hard for the Germans to be able to do anything to move up. If they're shooting 20, the Koreans shot 29, so they spent an arrow to find out what that wind's doing, and then they shot a 29 in the second.
That's an interesting point. You talk about that a little bit. Spending an arrow.
Well, I say that. It was in fact Kibo Bay's first arrow, so that 7 was a little bit anomalous. Maybe Ki spent one arrow to find out exactly what the wind was doing for her own
Testing
knowledge.
the waters, so to speak.
Not really sure if it was a strategy or if it was an accident. But regardless, once they found the middle, I think the Koreans will hang out there all day long. And so shooting, if they're shooting 29s the way they did in that second half of that first, and the Germans, they have such a big point deficit to make up. I think it's 55 to 41. So that's a 14-point deficit already in the first end. They've only got another 18 arrows. That's almost a point per arrow that they have to make up. If the Koreans keep shooting 10s, there's nothing that the Germans can do.
Standing room only here at the River Boulevard. Great to see this crowd out on a Sunday morning in Shanghai. Tremendous support for this event in this world-class city. And not a seat to be had. They're sitting in the aisles, you can see. So archery really, really catching on in this city. You visited one of the great archery shops here yesterday.
I did, and I'm actually recognizing a couple of people in the crowd. So they said they would come out, and here they are enjoying some good archery. Oh.
Some of the German archers, some of the Canadian contingent as well in the crowd right there. You see Christina Berger up in the crowd watching her teammates, who have dug themselves a rather deep hole right now.
Oh, they're in a lot of trouble. This is, you know, I hate to say it this early, but this match is really tough for the Germans. They're hoping for a little bit of a miracle on the part of the Koreans. It's really the Koreans' match to lose at this point. The Germans are going to have to settle down. Karina Richter in particular, she shot both the 5 and the 1. Not sure what the cause was of that. The shot looked reasonably decent. So unless it's just a really bad guess on what the wind's doing. As I say, a headwind can be exceptionally tricky. And if she had it set up for a tailwind and didn't quite pick up, there we go, that's fantastic.
Made the adjustment. So Karina Richter, who was on the German team that took bronze at stage 1 in Croatia a couple of years ago, won gold on her own at the Indoor Championships in Poland back in '09. Comes up with a 9 and now an 8.
That's a 7.
7, excuse me.
A little bit out to the left, yeah.
Meter.
Yeah, so 7s are still, they're not enough. If the Germans want to get back into contention, they've got to stay in the gold. That's pretty close, but not quite good enough.
So an 8 for Elena Richter.
So for 24 points for that half. Let's see what the Koreans do. The wind is an equalizer, but the Koreans are excellent. One of the things that the Koreans do very, very well in terms of wind shooting is they shoot very quickly. A quick shot in the wind is often far more forgiving than anybody lingering under the clicker, holding for any length of time. You just get up, you direct it right at the middle, and away it goes. It just tends to favor the bold. The wind is very, very favorable for a quick shot. Kibo Bay has one of the quickest shots that I know about.
Kibo Bay, who won a team gold medal in Shanghai in 2012. She'll also be competing in the mixed team competition here in Shanghai later today.
She was out on the practice range yesterday, and I saw her load an arrow with 7 seconds left and shoot it with time left on the clock.
You have to be prepared for all situations. We saw that quite a bit yesterday with the team from Finland.
Oh, really?
Yes. Mr. Juutalainen was very proficient in loading an arrow with under 10 seconds to go and usually getting a bullseye or a 9.
Very nice, yep.
He was a calm, cool, collected customer. Very impressive.
Now that 10, that's a good shot right there. 7.
So Germany having a tough time finding the center ring today.
But that was a good group. So, you know, if you can say anything about it, they've now shot a group. If they all collectively move their sights or aim off, they'll be able to put them in the middle. The Koreans have already found the middle. So now we've got a tie, and the Koreans are essentially 2 arrows ahead at this point, which gives them a huge advantage. Ooh, there we go. Bit of a 6.
Of course, a big cushion to work with.
Yes, and it's hard to, sometimes it can be hard to really push yourself to shoot great arrows with a huge lead. But if you want to keep your huge lead, you better shoot good arrows.
On the line, so that'll be an 8 for Kibo Bay.
It looks like the Germans actually picked up. That's 17-23 to 24. The Germans picked up 1 point in the second half of that end.
Of course, they were trailing by 14 points after the first end.
Yes, and they dropped another 2, I think, in the first half, so they're net down 1, so they should be down 15 points total with 12 arrows to go.
So a tough situation for the team from Germany, which had a good week, beating Australia and India before running into Ukraine's trio, a trio that we will see here in just a few moments in the gold medal match.
Absolutely. The Ukrainian team was really solid, really consistent in fairly wet with a really heavy wind type conditions. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in dry and gusty conditions here today when we get to that match. Not to jump ahead of myself.
I believe that is Yao Ming, who is in attendance today.
Fantastic.
Here along the River Boulevard. Sitting in the back, but he can see over the crowd. At 7'4", 7'6", I would hope so. Karina Winter, who said the World Cup final is her goal this year. Last year, she missed out on going to Tokyo because of just one match that she lost, and being that close made her want it more. This is, of course, just the beginning of the first step down that long road.
Yeah, and the team finals don't have any bearing on the individual finals of the World Cup. So this result is neither positive nor negative in terms of her goal to make the World Cup final.
It's experience.
It's good experience. I'm interested to note another arrow well off to the right. I'm starting to become curious a little bit about what is causing this huge arrow variation.
Elena Richter coming off her best year, going to the Olympics for the first time in 2012, where she finished 17th. Now back to Korea.
7 well out. So it looks like the wind's getting to both teams at this point. A little bit of left-right variation on both of them, but again, Koreans still have a 2-arrow lead. Nice quick shot. There's a 9.
Now back to Kibo Bay, #1 in the world, 2 gold medals at the Olympics in London last fall, won the World Cup final in Tokyo just a couple of weeks after that, and also the Longines Prize for Precision. So it was pretty much Kibo Bay's year.
Oh, it's good to have a good year like that, for sure. It's got to be hard almost to be a Korean archer and know that that's who you're up against in your own country.
In your own country, yes.
Once you get outside your country, it must be quite nice.
If you get that opportunity.
Yeah. You know, you're not, at the worst, you're going to just meet equal competition. It's unlikely.
There's a lot of people who feel as though a lot of recurve archers are going to switch over and have already switched over to compound just to get a chance to be able to compete and to shoot. And we saw a much better effort in compound yesterday by the Korean contingent.
Wow, yes, absolutely. The Korean archers have figured out the compound bow. This is the first time I've really noticed them to be as strong as they've been. But it's been, I was pleasantly surprised to see them in a couple of the finals matches. And they're really, really strong shooters. Archery is archery. If you're shooting arrows if you're doing it right, you're shooting arrows and they're going to go in the middle, regardless of whether you've got a compound or a recurve. There's a slight sort of philosophy change between the two bows, but by and large, it's shooting arrows at the middle of a target.
Which is what these young ladies are doing right now.
10-point lead with an arrow in the bow.
Kibo Bay was also on the Olympic gold medal team that defeated the Chinese by 1 point in London. And she won her individual gold medal by defeating Mexico's Ida Roman in a 1-arrow shoot-off. Brought home a pair of gold medals from London and appears headed for a bronze medal in this match against Germany here at stage 1 in Shanghai.
1-arrow shoot-off for the gold medal at the Olympics. That's just absolutely archery's dream. It comes down to a match that good right at the final.
I would imagine that's what you grow up dreaming about.
Ever since you saw your first Robin Hood movie, where it's all about closest to the middle. Yep.
So Korea getting off to a 14-point lead in the first end, maintaining a 14-point lead after the second end. And now
I think it's up to 19.
19. Well, we knew going into this it was going to be tough for Germany.
Well, and the bronze medal match is an interesting match. Unfortunately, it's gone this way. It could have been just an absolute nail-biter because the bronze medal match is known for just being excellent. It's both teams are scrapping it out for that medal. You know, in the gold medal match, you win a medal even if you lose. In the bronze medal match, if you lose, you go home with nothing. So it tends to be a little bit scrappier, and I was really hoping to see a really great performance. The Germans in their second round, in all of the rain and the wind in the team round day, they shot a decent score, a competitive score that would have beaten the Koreans in one of their matches and would have been competitive against them in one of the other matches. So I was really hoping that Germany would show up and really put down a good match and test the Koreans a little bit. It's a little unfortunate that for whatever reason they've had a few arrows drift well out to the right, and those have been the difference. The Koreans have not been invincible today. It's just that the mistakes made by the Germans have been a little bit bigger.
Karina Winter to start off the fourth end.
There's another 6 out to the right. That whole German group is out to the right. They just haven't. It's almost like they're too timid to overguess the wind.
It's a riddle they've yet to really solve.
And there's another 7 out right. They've got 2 arrows out in the 7 ring left. Absolutely everything else is center or right. What you're looking for in a group of holes in the target is preferably round, but if you have a really gusty wind like this, it's more likely going to be a little bit oval. And you want it just dead center, right? So there's a good left arrow. She's doing a good job of getting the arrows out left on that particular shot. But the whole group is a little bit high and a little bit right, and they're just losing points that they don't need to lose. Well, that was a very quick shot, and there's a 9. Nice.
Quick shot and a great result.
She was a little surprised by that. I think it went off a little bit early.
Hyun Jung
Oh, they've already won it.
with the 9.
So the Koreans have won the gold. Oh, no, sorry, there's another
The
3
bronze.
arrows. And yes, wrong match, and they've still got another 3 arrows to shoot.
But it does appear to be somewhat academic at this point.
Another 9.
So 9-9-9 for the Korean side.
Puts them up by 24 points. So even if the Germans shoot perfectly on this, the Koreans have to shoot a 7 to win. There's an 8.
Elena Richter with an 8.
Hast du Mitte?
Oh, lots of time on the clock. So nobody's got into any time pressure. The wind has died down a fair amount. They're in a little bit of a lull right now. and a low 7. So the Koreans have won it. They don't even need to shoot an arrow. This is just for practice and glory.
Germany ends up with a 182-point score.
There's a nice 10.
Bullseye. Jung, unranked, did win a team gold medal in Shanghai and in Ogden, Utah back in 2010. About to win a bronze medal here today as Chang Hye Jin, 26 years old, also won a team gold medal in Shanghai last year, 2012. About to pick up a bronze medal. And Kibo Bay will add to her hardware.
Absolutely.
And her trophy case as Korea wins at 210 to 182. Pretty much took all the suspense out of the match in that opening
the 5 and the 1 were just deadly for the Germans. But if you look at Zhu, she was, you say she's unranked, which basically just means that this is one of her first tournaments outside Korea. And she was tied for the most number of points for the Koreans. She shot a 7. Everything else was in the gold. 110. Chang shot a 6 and 2 10s, which evens out with Zhu, and they were both really, really solid. So for a first time out in a team medal match, that's fantastic shooting for sure. No reaction to the pressure, just really just good and solid shooting.
So Korea with an overwhelming, overpowering performance. You see the scores right there.